All right then, it is time to rumble. Andrew Patchett with one of the most out there shirts in the business. I'm a big fan. And he's brought his buddy Ryan Bodsworth along. Andy Blurton breaks off as we get underway.
Normally has one of the most reliable breaks around, a really powerful break, but not to be on this occasion, and not actually the biggest split.
Yeah, interesting split. So this is how it works. With the pairs, it is slightly different. We open with a Scotch frame. We'll then see two frames of singles where both players will alternate to play singles format. And then we go back to the Scotch for frame 4. Two more frames of singles. And then to the Scotch for a potential frame 7 decider. It's still a race to 4, same as the Monday night format that you may be used to by now. But it's the, you alluded to it in an interview that you did earlier on with John and Connor's side that we'll hear from in a little bit. You talked a little bit about, can you approach anything tactically? This is a tournament where, unlike individual play, there is a genuine tactical edge to it, because we're going to see pairs who, if they are sensible enough, will have A players and B players and will treat it as such. We saw it in the mixed pairs, especially last year. Those tactics were really starting to come in, and I think it sort of needs to, really.
Yeah, I think there's a huge tactical element to it, and also how you approach certain frames at certain times, depending on the situation of the match and who's coming up, and to put that into context. That was, by the way, that was an excellent shot from Andrew, because the first shot didn't quite go to plan from Ryan, and he's put Neil bang under it here, and cue ball in hand could make a huge difference in this frame. So huge first shot coming up for Neil, and we'll come back to the tactical side in a second.
Oh, he's unlucky. He has hit the yellow, but no cushion hit after contact, which is a rule that applies even out of a snooker. Neil was targeting the yellow on the bottom cushion. He didn't miss that by much. And it will bring Bodsworth and Patchett back to the table with cue ball in hand on these reds. It does make a big difference.
Yeah, assuming the red near the triangle area goes, and it might go bottom left through the gap now. That little nudge on the yellow might have helped. It might have gone all the anyway, but it does mean you can go short position and deal with the ones at the top and then come on down. If that yellow, the red in the triangle area didn't go, then you'd have gone straight on it in a short position. You can already see they're having a chat and working well together. We'll see a lot of this throughout the pairs. I think it's really important to communicate. Biggest thing I think for this partnership will be, how does Ryan adapt to being out there on this stage? You could see in the interview he's a little bit on the nervous side, first time playing on such a big stage. Sometimes, and having been through that sort of process myself, it can be, once you get out there, you can kind of be released and the nerves disappear and you're just playing pool. And obviously very early signs here, but body language is positive here for Ryan. And obviously we know Andrew's comfortable out there. He's been a pro long enough to be able to deal with it.
That'll help, and that's a lovely pot. Wants to hit the gap for the red over the bottom right corner pocket, and the way that Ryan's just looking over Andrew's shoulder, I think he's a bit nervy.
I think he's on the gap, but the problem is if he has to go bottom left first, he's going straight into yellows and he may not have anything on, so has to go bottom right. But connecting these three together, not easy.
Loads and loads and loads of check side.
I think he's okay here. Yeah. I think he can just get enough on this red to come back. He might just graze the yellow, but he's going to leave a thin red, you feel, but that's okay. Just give yourself a shot. Just a soft screw shot, leave a thin cut. Oh, he could get into it more, come across and get that cannon. Even better.
It's a lovely visit to the table. Really, really nice. Ooh, that was less nice. It's a poor shot that from
Yeah.
Andrew Patchett, really. He's put his mate under a little bit of trouble. And this is the other thing that you get with pairs pool. If you play a bad shot, sometimes it's not you that's going to deal with the consequences, it's your mate. But that is a confident pot. It's a really decent group, this. Winner will really have to earn it.
It is, but for me, if you go in, if you're looking at it on paper, I'd have, obviously the defending champions have to be the group favourites, but I'd have Andy and Neil as the second favourites for this group.
Hammer of a break from the Razor.
And this is where the
best
tactical...
I've seen him break in a while.
Yeah, and he really controlled it nicely as well. But this is where the tactical play worked out for them, because they got back to 1-1 with that lovely reverse clearance from Andy. But now they've got their top player from the partnership playing 3 straight frames, and he's playing against Ryan in this one here. And obviously he has that with the break, and he'll have the break in his next singles frame as well. So this is teed up well for the Blurton Raybone partnership here. Tricky plant to start, but thereafter this should be fairly plain sailing for him. I think the couple of delicate shots required, but they sort of connect well. Trickiest part will be yellow to the right of the 8 ball. He's going to have to take that right centre or left centre. Well, he's played that one off the red to stop him having to play for it. I thought he had just enough angle to actually play for it left centre, and the reason he didn't was he was probably worried about finishing low on it, and then he'd be leaving the one that he's hoping he's on now to left centre in a really awkward spot, because he wouldn't have been able to get onto it until later in the visit. Oh, he's having to turn this. Okay, just turned it over a fraction. Now he's in natural shape. I am assuming the yellow drops him right centre. He's grimace from Neil. Maybe it doesn't. Certainly looks like it from camera angles we have. Oh, he's played for it into the centre, so it must go.
Sending Andy Blurton off for an early night.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite past Andy's bedtime just yet.
I'm sure they practice together so much, and Andy probably looked at the layout at the start and thought, well, this game's over, and he can
switch off. Yeah,
he could switch off completely.
And there will be a lot of practice happening at the moment around the 8-ball worlds. Massive summer coming up.
Just a shade over the make a ball and run the clock down stage, so you can still control the match if you make a ball. If you make a ball. Oh, he has as well. It took a while, but it did go in. Red sort of go here. It's just the order of the 2 right centre and the 2 by the 8 ball. The easier of the 2 clearances, though. Assuming the red left of the 8 ball passes clean. Oh, it does. You just had to get that one out of the way first.
It should be job done for the Razor here.
A little bit further than was ideal. I think he would have been playing for the one right centre there. So the right one of the two together, get that out of the way, opens up the other one.
Minute 10 left on the match clock. It's a little bit of a poor one, but it won't matter. Such is the match clock influence at this stage of the match.
Oh,
of course, Neil could still pot it.
If he misses, though, there's enough time to counter and leave a second on the clock for a potential golden break.
Okay, skates on, boys. Andrew Patchett then wants to clear these in less than 33 seconds. And it is their break next. They will have a swing for a golden if he can leave at least a second on the clock.
A little bit surprised with Neil, because to me the only way that finish could go wrong once he'd kind of got into it was not dealing with them together. It felt like he overhit one to get onto the bottom one of those two into the right centre, but yeah, just got it slightly wrong.
Lovely finish from Patchett. He's really taken these out nicely, and he's going to leave time. Don't go in off. Yeah, well done. Oh, I think there was a second left there.
We'll have to wait and see. No, it's been called.
Wow, big call from referee Orich Tesgall, and he just needed to stop that cue ball on the 8 ball to officially signal the end of the frame. Neil Rayburn and Andy Blurton get away with one a little bit there. It finishes 3-2, but no time for the golden break attempt. Neil Rayburn and Andy Blurton on the board in the Pairs Cup. Well, let's address the elephant in the room. That's an astonishing shirt on Dave Gilbert, isn't it?
You haven't seen the best part of it yet. Wait till you see him from the back. It's incredible.
Quite something from the angry farmer, but he's going to be kept in his chair for the time being as his young mate has scratched off the break. And that's a real surprise, actually, because Kyle should be really, really sharp. He was playing a big game this weekend. I think it was played at the club that Dave and Kyle play out of, the Potters in Swadlincote, but big money game, big long races, a lot of time put in for it, a lot of time played on the table for the match itself, and Kyle went well and it won, and therefore wasn't expecting his very first break tonight to be scratched off into the middle pocket. That sort of thing can be a bit of a rhythm thing, but he should have plenty of that.
Yeah, especially as Dave will tell you that the bit that he struggles the most when it comes to Paul is the break, and he will let his partner do most of the breaks wherever possible, yet he's gone straight in off, although that was not the best of first shots for the defending champions. They went for a very difficult plant, trying to open everything up in one shot, and it's gone wrong here.
Yeah, and there's still plenty to work out here on both colour sets. Tracy will remain pretty calm about things.
They're not going to take it on either, are they? Let's see. John and Connor weren't not taking it on, but there is that shirt. It's fantastic.
It's an astonishing thing.
They also
Dave's mentioned he might be wearing it in the future. He'll wear it for pool events, and he said he might take it to Ibiza with him.
Yeah. I also think he had a hand in Kyle's, which is pretty impressive from the back as well, whenever we get a chance to see that one. And I don't think Kyle had too much say in what's going on the back of his shirt. I think it was a lot more of Dave's input than his.
Yeah, I think it was Dave who gave him the nickname of Kong. Oh, disaster. Kyle's played 2 shots, one a break and one in open table, and he's dumped the cue ball into either of the middle pockets. A less than impressive start. So cue ball in hand then for Connor and John.
Much easier task this time round though with cue ball in hand. Obviously last time it's cue ball in hand anywhere behind the line for the break, but this time anywhere on the table and all the yellows go. So this should be defending champions with a chance to really get up and running, although it wasn't the best of shots from Connor. He wanted to leave John a little bit straighter in here.
No, I think this might have been the plan all along, because they can then just play the one across here from short position and track down the table from the one on the rail.
I think, yeah, what I was thinking, I thought we had too much angle to hold. He dropped it in dead weight and it was fine. Wasn't a problem in the end.
touch around the table. Really prides himself on his cue ball, a purist in that sense.
Talk about communication being really important. These two won't talk too much out there. They're obviously, when they're playing the Scotch range, they will have a, they are working well together, but it's little points and nods, very little in terms of overall conversations.
Yeah, it's those who know John McAllister, not a huge surprise.
No, not really, but I don't think they're going to get involved in each other's frames very often. I think they'll just leave each other to it, and that's how they went about it last year. They've got a lot of respect for each other in their own games.
I think that comes from familiarity as well. I think, yes, John's right at the top of the game and he's won some big titles, but he'll practice with Connor. They'll have played each other plenty of times down the years, and he'll know from that Connor will have beaten him plenty of times as well. He's a super talented Connor Tracy. It's a white ball for the lead. McAllister rolls it in.
For John winning the pairs and then going on to get the first individual title of Ultimate Pool, because everyone that knows John has been expecting him to come in and win titles with Ultimate Pool, but you've got to go ahead and do it. And now that he's gone on and won another one, so he's now 3 titles with Ultimate Pool already. He's going very, very well.
I think Dave and Kyle would have been having a bit of chat there before Kyle walked out to break to, make this next one a bit better. And he did. He struck that beautifully, cue ball perfect. And wouldn't you know, it's dry. Silly game.
A chance for Connor to make it 3-0 and kind of break the back of this match, really. Do that. There's not really anything in the way here. Slightly off angle with this one, but it shouldn't really be a problem. I'm sure that's where he was playing for, but he's going to have to rework it out. Yeah. If he takes the one to right centre, he might just drift a little too far up the table. So play this one well. Play it off the thick part of the jaw. He's okay. He's coming up to have a look at the angle he's going to leave. I was going to say, if he's stuck on the red, it's a bit unfortunate.
He's controlled it quite nicely, actually. Bit of a theme for some pretty out there, loud shirts tonight. Stag do.
Yeah.
Connor Tracy, with the No More Mr. Nice Guy shirt. His nickname on the Challenger circuit, and if you've ever met Connor, he is genuinely one of the nicest blokes you could ever meet. And, yeah, that was his nickname, and then promoted to the pros, and he decided to go for a rebrand. There's no more Mr. Nice Guy. I love that for it.
You don't want to be the nice guy on the table. Slightly awkward, this one. It's never a good last ball leaving this one, and obviously he had to because of the positional play earlier on in the visit. Negotiates that one pretty well.
Just had to focus on the pot there. The cue ball took care of itself. Anywhere in the top half of the table was going to be pretty fine. Slides in the 8 ball, 3-0 lead then.
Both pairs need to be able to step up when called upon.
I remember in the Pairs Cup 2022 final as Connor gets kicked off, and we will see Dave Gilbert at the table here with Kyle. I remember in the 2022 final when it was a similar format to the Champions League finals, best of 2 sets, where Gareth Potts and Mark Selby ended up winning that match, but up against Carl Sutton and Sean Chipperfield, and Sean Chipperfield didn't hit a ball until deep into the 2nd set.
Incredible, really. And when he did, he played really well. It was quite incredible standard, the final. Incredible standard all night. So there's still enough time here for this partnership to turn this one around. Obviously, it doesn't feel like it, but there is. They've got to get out in this visit. And then it will be Carl Cope with the next break. He needs to try and get something going on this break. first things first, got to clear up here. Not really anything in the way, maybe just a transitional shot, but that really shouldn't prove to be too much of a problem. Quite a big window to land in. Oh, not the best, just okay.
The biggest difference from snooker 2 pool, from a playing perspective at least the cue ball, it's the feedback we get from all the snooker players that play the game. And to be honest, whilst we can divide a bit of an opinion online and all the rest of it, because pool looks like a fundamentally easier game, because anyone who's played a shot on a pool table or a shot on a snooker table knows how hard it is to play, comparatively. But the top level, pool is a very, very difficult game. It's all about the patterns, and if you don't have those, it doesn't matter how good at potting balls you are, you'll be a great pool player. It's the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup. Dave Gilbert and Kyle Cope back in their chairs, and they face elimination here. Taking on Ryan Bodsworth and Andrew Patchett to stay alive in this year's competition. Break.
I'll tell you what, he didn't hit this one anywhere near as good as the last one, yet it's still got balls flying in everywhere. Just see him come across this one just a touch.
Only a little bit though.
Yeah, he caught it flush though, didn't he?
Yeah, he's really sledged that. Got rewarded as well with plenty of balls finding the requisite holes and a decent split. Only thing is they're going to be got one little shot to play here. That's just about okay.
Oh, good call there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he just flicked the yellow. I was about to say the only issue they've got really is this first shot, and it's the stretch and it's a bit awkward queuing. And I'm not sure if Orich spotted this one, but Andrew's called it on himself. Good call there. Oh, I'm surprised by this. I suppose it was guaranteed to be on the next ball, so plays the bump out. But if you weren't going to play the bump out, then the ball he's just played would have been your last ball, just to drop in on the 8 ball. But I suppose it has made the clearance easier.
Finish now for these two. I mean, that is just one of the worst shirts I've ever seen in my life, isn't it? The best part is Dave was very heavily involved in the design.
Yes.
I need to stress, he wasn't, just told to put that on. This was his show.
Well, I was chatting to him, sort of said to him, if I was ever to play again, I think I'd go really conservative, really plain, really simple. And he said, oh, no, I've gone completely the other way. I've gone big. And he has.
Kyle Cope knocks in the 8 ball. Lovely work from the pair of them, and maybe that'll be a bit of a settler. Being an elite sportsman, and that's all about what you do off the table, being professional when it comes to your practice and your approach and your mentality, all those different things, they do transfer.
Well, having talked about Kyle and his patterns and his not having to pull out big shots, he's just got himself awkward here. The last couple of shots just landed off angle and made it slightly awkward. Still should make this no problem, but it's not what he was looking for when he had such an easy layout 3 or 4 shots ago.
It's going to stay up. It was missable.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he should still be making it, no question about that. That all stems from the shots before, really. He didn't have to worry about the cue ball going in off, so we can't blame it on trying to pot it as thick as possible to control the white. It wasn't that case, that's just a wide, and a jarring one as well from Kyle. Much better player than you've shown tonight.
Yeah, surprising series of mistakes, really, or half mistakes that led to the big mistake. What an opportunity here for Ryan, though, to mop up, get back on level terms, and then hand it over to his partner. Doesn't really need to do too much here. It's easy to say the one at the bottom is slightly awkward, but the connection should be perfect here. I quite like one he's straight in, top left now, then top right, leave the one left centre. Doesn't really matter if you get slightly wrong angle on it, because you want the high angle on the one in the triangle area to drop on the one at the bottom. Looks like he's going to go left centre first, not the way I'd have gone. I suppose it is the way to go, actually, in terms of leave the one over top right as your last ball. Yeah. What you wanted to do was get where he is now, but doesn't need to worry about the one at the top because it's simple. He's looked very good tonight for a player that's playing on this stage for the first time. He's looked very composed.
Yeah, completely agreed. I've been really impressed. I think he's been the better player out of his duo. Yeah, front ball, proper pool player.
I told him I was going to give him some grief if he didn't go for the cut break.
Oh, what a break.
Yeah. Right decision all the time, wasn't it?
It's one of the best breaks of the night, to be honest with you.
There you go, Carl. That's how you break.
He's massively undersold it. Look how good this is. Parks the white middle of the table, gets the ball, cheers. That's great.
That's done all right there, isn't he? And you could see the smile on his face before he hit it.
You'd repeat that for every time he broke, you'd be a very, very, very happy man.
Not the greatest of layouts, in all honesty. Looks like they want the reds. Two yellows at the bottom are really awkward, assuming the yellow doesn't go past the reds at bottom left. Reds make more sense, but the opener wasn't ideal. That used it all. And he's got no cue ball with it. It's not the best of shots from Kyle. Looks like they're going to have to find a safety. Didn't quite get that close enough to the yellow. It's one of those shots, you don't want to leave it touching ball, but you just want it to be really close to limit the options. That yellow does go right centre now, so they can attack if they want to. It would be leaving a yellow down the table.
Yeah, although it's tough, isn't it? They've not really got a nice connector.
No, and there's no good safety either. Maybe you put a yellow in amongst the reds, make it really awkward.
I think attacking's the way, but just going to play a really good shot. We'll start with a good shot. Look at the cue in here. Ah, brilliant.
Oh, that's clever. That's actually because you could play. I was wondering why he was jacking up, because you could pop that without having to do that, because you were kind of playing away and the cue ball would have gone up towards the sort of two reds on the left hand side, but you'd be leaving that yellow at the bottom of the table. But by jacking up, they're able to get underneath the yellow, and now they've got the yellow into right centre, which is a big pocket. They're not quite on it as nice as they'd have liked, but as long as they've got a shot to top left after this one here, then they've got a great chance to finish.
Well, it still was a tough shot.
Yeah, it was.
It was. Couldn't quite make it. The shot that Ryan played before that was brilliant. Really, really good.
If you'd said to Patch there, just make the pot, I'd expect him to make it because it was a big pocket. The problem was he was trying to really nip it, and the straighter you hit it, the better in terms of holding it, if he was just to play the cue ball into the reds.
Well, it's precisely the same thing that made the tariff of
Yeah,
Bods' last shot so difficult.
Exactly that.
Find another big shot here. Looks like he's got something of a one cushion. Ooh, Healy went close to that 8 ball and potentially losing the frame. You can see in here that the 15-second shot clock is now in play as well.
interesting, that one. They could have just dropped that in and had the red that they've just bumped into the middle of the table to left centre. They decided to play into it. Okay. Played into it to play. I suppose they were playing, hoping to get the gap to be able to pop the one nearest the pocket and pop back out. Didn't quite have the angle they wanted, so they played safe again. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, especially as there's no direct danger to pockets. I think the yellow just above the right centre is now, well, there's your answer. I thought it wasn't possible, but it was. And that's come out okay. Massive shot.
What a moment. What a moment.
Bodsworth and Andrew Patchett are on the precipice here of dumping out Kyle Cope and Dave Gilbert.
Talk about percentage play all the time, and safety there, you can argue you're going to get a better opportunity to clear up a lot more times than you wouldn't. On this occasion, they're not even going to get an opportunity. The only argument for me that I was about to make against playing the safety was the clock, that they want to win 2 frames, not just the 1. You need to win the match, and the draw's no good. Well, it's going to work out even worse than that here.
Yeah, 3-1 down, and realistically the only way of progressing is to win the next 3 frames. So they're asking a lot.
Yeah, will he change to the cut break? I talked about him probably going for the cut break straight away. I'd be shocked if he doesn't do it this time. More chance to get the 8 ball in motion when you go for the second ball down. Yeah, he's already lined up for it.
Oh, we know from Story's side that he does have a very decent cut break. Can he get the 8 ball moving? He can. Can he get it moving towards a pocket? No. So Ryan Bodsworth and Andrew Patchett relieved as Andrew's error is not punished. Kyle Cope and Dave Gilbert exit, but it's a fantastic result for Andrew Patchett and Ryan Bodsworth, who stay alive in the Pairs Cup. Tracy and John McAllister back in the arena once more. Nice transition from the trophy winners from last year. At the Stinger at the top of the show, coming in. Feels right that they are defending their crown in group number 1. Up against Andy Blurton and Neil Raybo. Both of these pairings won their opening match. And therefore, whilst the previous game was important, this match is even more significant. Ball's going to go out if they lose this match, but they can almost go through. Winner of this game can go into their final fixture of the evening, knowing just a draw will take them through. Take control with the group, with a win here.
And his break's not worked again. He normally has a fabulous break, but his only break in the first match was dry. It's dry again, and a good chance here for the defending champions. Just the 2 either side of the 8 ball. As long as it's on the right jaw, that drops in, that's no problem. Well, that helps. That yellow must go past the red to bottom right. If that's the case, they are perfect. Be nice for them if the yellow above the 8 ball goes bottom left. Don't think you can go right centre with it next. That's the only reason I say it. Pretty sure that yellow flies past the 8 ball, so they're in great shape here. Slight grimace from Connor as he came round there. Probably wanted to be straight in to bottom left on that particular shot, actually. He's got a bit too much angles. I'm going to raise up the cue and pound this one in a little bit. It's always an uncomfortable shot for a ball player because we get so used to those middle pockets, just not liking that sort of shot because you're you're digging down on the ball, you're making the cue ball bounce, you're making the object ball bounce, and they're not deep pockets on a pool table, and it's one of those shots that you know you're never going to miss, you just feel uncomfortable on.
You just don't trust it 100%.
Yeah,
do you?
exactly that. So right hand side on that one, just to avoid the red. Pop back out. Those sort of shots are tough to play on these tables. Never takes as much as you think it's going to. No issues with this clearance. Very good. Fortunately, he's missed it. And now they're hoping for more chances. 3:29 left. John breaks and clears like he does so often. Blurton Raybone partnership could be in trouble here.
Advantage McAllister and Tracy. I was going to say, it's probably John's worst break of the night. It doesn't actually go in off the corner pocket that he threatened. He's kicked in the other way, which would be frustrating, but this is a good chance for Andy and Neil here. A draw very much keeps both teams alive.
Time left though. This is perfect for the Blurton Raybone partnership. These yellows are ideal. Now,
there's 2 frames worth of time in the match
yeah,
here.
And Neil has the next break, and as we've already said, he's breaking really well tonight. I know he made the mistake in the previous frame, but he is breaking well and he's playing very solid. So we just had a quick chat after that last shot about how they're going to go about this finish, but time to just motor through it here. You want to leave about 2 minutes. Fine, just don't pass the red. All the communication's been done through sort of pointing since that early conversation.
It's going to be an interesting finish to this one, all right. So much.
Eight ball.
Makes the ball, howls the split. Pretty good. Neil Raybone with the opportunity.
He's going to go reds. He could go yellows, but that yellow on the right hand side is just too guarded. Red by his hands, the trickiest ball. I think the other red definitely goes top right. Right centre might help those sort of connections. Might leave the one that's sort of directly below the 8 ball as your last ball. I thought he might drop that in to get the cue ball flat on the bottom cushion and control himself up that way. And he's going to leave the red down the table.
14 seconds and ticking.
Key shot.
Important to remember, you can't win it, make sure you don't lose it.
Right, now he's in perfect shape. This is where clock management comes in the other way. He needs to make sure he runs it down to make it a buzzer beater. He knows he's won the frame. You want to absolutely make sure that Connor Tracy does not get an opportunity to break.
Wants to take his time. Maybe run the cue ball a little bit here as well. He's got 5 seconds. Cue ball is running, and that will do it. Beautifully done by Neil Raybone. They were 2-1 down with a couple of minutes to play, but this duo has found the way to win, and they take control of the group, and the defending champions are on the ropes. Welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup. It's do or die now then for Andrew Patchett, and his partner Ryan Bodsworth, and John McAllister and Connor Tracy. Very nearly a golden break to start off. It's these two pairs' final match of the night, and they must win. That's of the bottom line. They are both played 2, won 1, lost 1, which make things pretty easy. They must win and hope for a favour. Dave Gilbert and Kyle Cope can still very much have a big say on what happens tonight. It won't directly affect them, but it could directly affect all 3 other pairs. But there's no prizes for a draw here. The only way one of these 2 pairs are going through is by winning this match, having Neil and Andy lose their next one, and beat them in a 6-red shootout. Long way back.
Didn't really want the full cannon there. Half ball would have been better.
Anything but a full ball cannon.
Yeah. They get full ball on the left-hand side as we look. They're on choices up the table, but more likely they play the thin cut down the table. But from here, obviously it's their only option, but it's also horrible.
We saw Ryan earlier take on a very tricky shot, almost Massey style really with the cueing. Good cueist, but the issue with this one is, well, for a right-hander it's a little bit awkward as well. I just think so anyway.
I think they've still got to take it on, in all honesty, because if
it's the only shot,
the safety, they're going to be leaving a red onto left centre by the looks of things.
Well, so much so he's kicking it.
Yeah, and he's left that red onto left centre. I mean, it must have been such an awkward angle to be able to reach that it might not have even been able to stretch and get there, which then brings the spider out, which is then horrible. And we've already talked about that cue ball being smaller. There's just nothing showing there, making it really awkward. But even if he gets that safety right for me, you know, he gets the yellow 4, sticks the cue ball on the bottom cushion, he's still leaving this shot on. Poor shot from Connor. And he's just left them absolutely ball in hand perfect here. Only thing, the 8 ball's going to be really awkward to land on. Should play on the one to bottom left after this one. Try and leave the one over left centre as your connection to the 8 ball. Very good. I think this is perfect. I think just drop it in and just drift and leave. He's looking to see whether he can leave it below the reds, but for me, just let it drift past the reds. Leave the 8 ball to the corner. Yeah, that was probably as bad as it could have panned out, actually. Use the red as a target so that he couldn't overhit the shot, but catches the red sort of 3/4 ball, just making it a little bit more of a cutback.
Oh, heartbreaking drop into McAllister and Tracy's corner pocket. Coming up for you in June, on the 16th and the week after, or 17th I should say, and the week after. 2 Mondays will be the home of the WPF World Team Shootout. It's the ladies on Monday the 17th, and later on the 23rd it's the turn of the boys. Very much looking forward to those 2 events. If you've ever seen World Shootout Pool before, you'll know how fantastic it can be.
May well be the 2 best Monday nights of the year. That's how good they can be. First mistake, really, for me, from Ryan tonight. The player making his debut on this stage. Been very impressed, but not the best of breaks this time. Cue ball straight in off, although a bit of a slow death on it going straight in off. And John McAllister, a good opportunity to get going once again. Nothing really in his way here. Sort of layout that he's so good at, keeping it simple. This is awkward because he can't get on the one he wants to nicely. He's tracking away from the red over the bottom left-hand corner pocket. And he didn't want to leave these two reds bottom left as his last two. That's why he took a lot longer on that last shot, was just trying to rework it out.
Less than 7 to play.
Not quite as far up the table as he was looking. Don't think he's got a particularly good angle. Dead straight, or is it just off? Yeah, just about straight, so just enough to punch it across one turn. After a couple of rolls at the table, he would have been right behind this 8-ball, but still not really a problem for him.
Not at all. Out of the pocket from John McAllister.
Golden break's a must. An absolute must hit.
And they're not going to get it. So that dream of a draw is going to just fade away. Neil and Andy will have to get the job done themselves. Connor and John here just have to play the match out. They won't worry about finishing necessarily. Just stay at the table, and the game is all over.
And they'll be positive as well. When they came through their opening night last year, they had to do it with a shootout and a loss, and that's how they're going to have to do it again if they're going to make it through and continue the defence of their title.
It's even lovelier in this context. It killed about an extra 5 seconds just with the cue ball travelling, which helps.
They have actually put together a very good defence of their title, even if they don't get to play in a shootout. They've basically made
much wrong.
They've made one mistake each. You know, John missed one pot, Connor's missed one pot, and that's about it.
John McAllister gets the job done. It's a 3-1 win. And Andrew Patchett and Ryan Bodsworth, who've certainly showed his promise tonight. Ryan especially, been really impressed with him. Well, those two fine gentlemen holding the trophy a moment ago are in danger of being eliminated on the very first night of this year's tournament. Neil Rayburn and Andy Blurton, a match away from a spot in the next stage, knocking out the defending champions. In their way, Kyle Cope and Dave Gilbert, who are winless so far, 2 defeats from 2, but will be keen to leave tonight with something, and if they can, will bring hope for Connor Tracy and John McAllister, who need them to win. Andrew Patchett and Ryan Bodsworth are out. They can no longer go through. Wish them well for the rest of the season, indeed much of the summer of pool coming up. John McAllister and Connor Tracy, interested parties here. Because if Dave Gilbert and Kyle Cope can find a victory, they'll have a 6-red shootout to decide who qualifies from the team's group. Which is exactly the way they went through last year at this stage.
Neil's break continues to go well. That's why they changed it up here, and Andy's broke on the opening Scotch frame in their previous 2 matches, and they've not really worked. So they've gone to Neil's break. He was looking for a fuller contact there, but it's come out okay.
I can tell you that there was a little bit of back and forth. Tracy and John McAllister, as I mentioned, have got a lot riding on Dave and Kyle's performance in this match, and nipped out into the club in the break there, and saw Connor Tracy buttering up Dave Gilbert. Dave was trying to demand a fee to produce a win for him. All in jest, of course. Connor was balking at the prices, though, I can tell you.
Well, they're in good shape here for Neil and Andy to get off to a good start.
And the key for them is to just stay in front. Sounds like a really obvious thing to say, but this is a strange match for Andy and Neil. It's not a normal match where you just play to win it. Here you're playing not to lose, and that doesn't sound like much, but every single player who's ever been in this position has always told us how difficult it is. One way to combat that feeling is at least lead. Never feel like you're chasing something.
Yeah, if you're leading, you've got the draw as well, so you feel like you've got that little safety net. Big shot coming up here, though, not guaranteed to land on this 8 ball. That yellow just to the right of it plays huge. In fact, all the yellows play huge here. He's got to kind of thread the needle through the yellows and get to the middle of the table. Not there.
What a moment potentially here. Well. Worst possible result really for Andy and Neil. Not just that they're almost certainly going to lose the first frame here, but they're going to lose it at the second visit. And the reason why that could be key is it just takes time off the clock. They're going to lose it in not just a couple of minutes, but plenty more than that. Dave and Kyle look like they're going to rattle through this finish.
Yeah, just come fun out there.
Yeah, but just come the end of the match, though, that could be important.
I'm surprised by the way Neil played that shot. So he felt he couldn't get there. I thought he was going to sort of float it in with rates of side and really allow the side to take and just try and get to the middle of the table, but he played it a lot firmer. And that was a poor shot from Kyle. Continuing, he's not really been on it tonight for whatever reason. Kyle struggled.
Wow.
That was a...
I mean, that's incredibly unlucky.
Yeah, the mistake looks like it's Dave Gilbert's, but it's not. The mistake was Kyle Coates. He had to leave himself a good angle, or leave Dave a good angle to get nicely onto the 8 ball, and he just left him a terrible angle.
Dave tried to show off his cueing ability, which really had to pull a shot out there. But he just caught the jaw. Apart from maybe your phenoms that we saw on Saturday night with someone like a Jude Bellingham, who seems to play 10 years older than himself, but those are rare in any sport. You know, for any young players, talented though they may be, consistency can be hard to find because that's not just down to talent.
I always think that Kyle's one of those players that's got the potential to kind of have a lot more consistency because of his style of play. But
yes, completely agreed.
But he's not quite played his best tonight, no doubt about it. He'll be the first to admit it. Another good break from Dave Gilbert. He's hit the break well tonight, considering he came in saying that he can't figure out the break. Talked at the beginning of the night about Cal could potentially be getting up there and getting involved in helping Dave out, but I think if they were still in with a chance to qualify, he might be more invested in doing that. The way things are in the group for them, I think he's just letting Dave go and try and figure it out for himself. Needs the red to go past the yellow top left. Just a touch straight to get onto it. Yeah, he's having a look. It would have been better just to hold the white if he needed to get across the left-hand side of the table to take it right centre, but I think it goes. Or maybe it doesn't, the way he's loading up here. Fabulous shot. Really was.
Just a cue ball catching him out there. He didn't think he'd be going near that yellow.
No, and maybe it doesn't go to bottom right. I thought it wasn't going to be a problem for him, but he's come round to have a look at the angle for the middle.
Good shot needed here. That's a good shot found. That's a really good ball. Thinnest of thin cuts. I'm saying particularly negatively because I think Carl and Dave are very cool about it, but they're letting down his opponent, so to speak. He's been brilliant tonight, really, not really done much wrong. And
the strange thing about that is that Dave was trying to sort of talk Carl into playing with somebody else because he didn't want to let him down. And it's kind of...
What we're trying to say is there is that dynamic out there.
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
I don't think either of them will think about it in those terms, in all honesty. It's just it's not been the best night for Cal, but he'll be back. Too good a player not to be. With a chance for a very quick clearance here. It's been a bit more like it.
It has, hasn't it? And it goes 2-2 then. And hope still abounds for John McAllister and Connor Tracy. Dave Gilbert's break. If he can find the ball. Oh, and can he? Well, well, well. Couple of pots away, you feel.
Yeah, the first one's not too bad either. It looked like it was going to be awkward, but I think he's okay on a red hit. And then clearance is on. Dave would love to sign off with a break clearance. Doesn't need to worry about it. Could just run the clock down, but you know he's going to be trying.
Yeah, quite right too. Just about done in winning this match. Neil and Andy will stay out there and await the arrival of Connor Tracy and John McAllister. Time for the clearance that he really wanted. Just a shame because he played a lovely shot there. Not quite going to get there is Dave Gilbert. but the job and the damage has been done. Kyle and Dave win the match, and Neil and Andy are forced into a 6-red shootout that was completely avoidable. We're ready to go. And this is it for John McAllister and Connor Tracy. They are going to set the time. If you're new around here, cue ball and object ball have to be stationary, the rest can still be moving. That's an okay break. I don't know if Connor needed to do that, you know. Maybe a bit of a rush of blood to the head. Still not over here. The 2 reds do go independently.
Oh dear. They were back in good shape, but that's a poor miss from Connor.
Still salvage an okay time. Needs to go though. Well, Andy Blurton and Neil Rayburn just went huge favourites. And you have to say, there were a couple of big errors in there from Connor Tracy.
Perfect.
Couldn't be a better split. 6 pots and they're through. That is not an ideal start. Neil almost looks at him as if to say, what are you doing?
Yeah, he got a little flustered because he didn't want to play that shot and then changed his mind and went to it. It should still be fine. Just don't miss and they're okay.
Two pots away. It's going to be tighter than they would have liked. But this, for qualification, they've done it. 27.95, very much above par, but that was what they had to beat, and beat it they have done. Neil Rayburn and Andy Blurton have qualified for the next round of the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup, and the defending champions are out.